Welcome back. While Sarah Boone argues with prison staff about how important she is and tries to get extra shower shoes, let's take a look back at exactly why Sarah wanted that pesky interrogation thrown out of evidence. Sarah wants to start fresh with a clean slate. Tell her story over from the very beginning. She needs us to know she's not malicious. Her legal team, mainly James Owens and Tony Henderson, have clearly convinced her this is a good idea. So many before them have refused this ridiculous defense. We have already discussed our opinion on James Owen and Tony Henderson and the possibilities of them having ulterior motives and wanting 5 minutes of fame. Check out our previous video on the allegedly scandalous accusations and charges levied against the two and why they just might be trying to redeem themselves with this case. Meanwhile, let's watch as the deranged team try to deceive the court.
It's going to come down to me.
What do you mean?
Like, so it's being put on me. What's next?
They're going to come and swab your fingers.
No, I'm talking about, like, in the long run. Like, what do I need to, like, do I need to be doing something, or, like...
I can't tell you, like, what to do.
I mean, like, so, like, for... Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know if you guys are just going to, like... Because it makes it sound like, to me, like, I'm being accused of something that was not intentional. I'm being accused of it.
Mm-hmm.
And a handful of other things that I'm being accused of.
Okay.
So I don't want to be at home with Lucas and you guys show up.
Okay.
I understand that.
So...
We're still investigating. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Had to talk about that, referring to the autopsy.
Best evidence.
Sustained.
Do you recall making some comments to her prior to reading her the rights?
Objection. Best evidence.
Overruled.
Yes.
Is it the policy of the Orange County Sheriff's Department to make any statements to them about the interrogation prior to reading Miranda?
Objection. Relevance.
Overruled.
One more time?
I assume that's not the first time you've read Miranda to a suspect.
Objection. Proper question.
Sustained.
Let me go back to the first question then. Is it the policy of the Sheriff's Department not to ask any preliminary questions prior to reading Miranda rights?
Same objection for the record.
Overruled as relevance.
You would have to show me the policy that you're referring to, but I was not asking her any incriminating questions during that time. I was explaining to her the purpose of the interview.
Well, have you ever been, I understand you must have undergone some training on Miranda rights and how to interrogate somebody.
Objection. Proper.
Sustained.
How long have you been with the Sheriff's Department?
Since 2013.
How long have you been a homicide detective?
Over 6 years.
Okay. Have you ever been trained or told to ask or not to ask any statements or any questions prior to reading Miranda relating to them talking to you?
Objection. Relevance.
Sustained.
Can you tell us if you recall saying anything to her prior to reading her Miranda?
I recall briefly talking about getting the autopsy results, and that I wish to have a conversation with her.
All right. Do you recall again reading her Miranda rights to her on video?
Yes.
Do you recall again omitting question number 9 on the standardized Miranda rights form for the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Objection. Relevance.
Overruled.
I did not ask for question number 9.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So that afternoon on February 24th of 2020, when Deputy Kayla Rodriguez arrived at your residence shortly after 1 p.m., you were under the influence of alcohol, correct?
Yes.
You were impaired by alcohol, correct?
I don't know as much as impaired means. It did affect, yes.
Okay. And that was consumption from the night before, correct?
Yes.
So you did not go to brunch that morning and have mimosas or anything else to drink, correct? And you consumed no alcohol in your home that morning, correct?
Correct.
So does that affect in any way your memory when you testify about the events that transpired between you and Detective Kopsel that afternoon?
Ask one more time, please.
Did the alcohol have any effect on your memory of what happened between you and Detective Kopsel that afternoon?
Now or then?
Then?
Did alcohol affect my conversation with her?
There's a jury instruction that says a witness's memory and perception is pertinent. And I'm asking you, did the alcohol that you were under the influence of affect your memory or perception of the events that you've testified to today that you said happened on that afternoon of February 24th, 2020?
So did they affect? My answer?
Judge, I don't think she understands the question.
I don't.
Okay.
It's been asked 3 different ways.
So we'll leave it at you were under the influence of alcohol that afternoon, correct?
Judge, I think she said she didn't know what, she said that she had alcohol under the influence or impaired.
The objection is, the court does not entertain speaking objections. The legal grounds need to be provided. What are the legal grounds of your objection?
I know that she had said she didn't know what.
What are the legal grounds of your objection?
I'll withdraw it.
All right, you may proceed.
All right. And you understand that you're charged with second-degree murder in this case, correct? You're facing a potential penalty of life in prison, correct?
I understand.
Do you understand that the score sheet minimum is probably about 22 and a half years?
I don't know.
Okay. And it is your desire to have these statements excluded from the jury's consideration, correct?
Judge, I would object to that.
Sustain the objection.
Your intent is to testify differently than you have testified in the statements in State's Exhibit 1, correct?
Regarding the...
I would object to that. I'm not understanding what the question.
Mr. J.
Judge, a witness's bias is always at issue when they take the stand, and it's our position that her credibility for all the things that she has testified to today, that particularly the things in conflict with Detective Kopsel's testimony, and the court, of course, in a motion to suppress, has to consider the credibility of the witnesses, and you are in the best position to do that. The appellate courts are going to be very deferential to you. It's our position that she's biased. She is charged with second-degree murder. She's facing life in prison. Based on the examination that both state attorneys and defense counsel and the state's expert witnessed today, it is the state's belief that she is intending to testify differently than she testified in the statements that she provided to law enforcement in State's Exhibit 1, and therefore she is biased in all the things that she's testified about today because it is her intent to get this statement, all these statements, or the statement on 225 thrown out so that she is not going to be cross-examined and impeached with it so that she can testify the way that she testified this afternoon. We're simply asking her what she said that was different, and obviously if I did and she testified differently, I would have to accept that answer. There's no way for me to extrinsically impeach her with that due to the brevity of the time frame that we have all been subjected to. But I do believe it's a fair question to ask her whether or not she intends to testify differently than her statements that are in State's Exhibit 1 and consistently with how she testified this afternoon, and that she understands it would benefit her if these statements are excluded.
So I'm going to sustain the objection based on how the question was asked. I'll allow you to revisit it based on how you just explained it to me.
You gave statements to an evaluator this afternoon, did you not?
I did.
All right. And without going into the details, would you agree that there are some differences in those statements as to what is in the statements you provided to law enforcement on February 25th of 2020?
Yes.
And you understand that I would be able to cross-examine you on giving inconsistent statements at trial if you take the stand, correct?
I understand.
And so you understand the benefit of this motion to suppress being granted?
Of course.
No.
If she didn't come, they were going to go get her. If she came and said, I want to invoke my rights, she was going to be arrested. They wanted to get some type of admission, confession, statement that they could later use, which they're trying to do now. But under the circumstances, the totality of the circumstances about how she was induced to come down there, about telling them that she had to talk, Judge, it was coercive. We would ask that you suppress the evidence.
Any response?
Judge, the United States Supreme Court has said that confessions are good. They are good for society. It is good when guilty people are convicted. We stand by all the case law that we've cited, and you have reviewed the evidence from start to finish. Under the totality of the circumstances of that 2-hour and 6-minute statement that she gave to law enforcement, she knowingly and intelligently and voluntarily waived her Miranda rights. And under the case law, it was done perfectly fine. There is no requirement that that question number 9 get read. And as far as any credibility issues that are pertinent to the court's analysis, which the state would submit there is not, because we are conceding there was custody on February 25th. They are allowed to use subterfuge and deception to get somebody to come to the police station under the case law and authority cited. But if there is anything that is dependent upon the credibility of either the defendant's testimony or Detective Kopsel's testimony, the state would argue for the reasons of her being impaired by her own admission on the afternoon of February 24th, still from the night before, that her credibility is less than Detective Kopsel's, and of course she has a bias and interest in the outcome of the case, whereas Detective Kopsel has no motivation to not tell the truth about whether she used deception to bring the defendant down to the police station, because that's perfectly acceptable. So we're asking you, for the reasons that we stated in our multiple responses to their multiple amended motions, to deny their motion to suppress. Thank you.
Any further argument, Mr. Owens?
No, Judge.
All right. Tomorrow is a court holiday. The court has had the opportunity to review all the case law. Court's going to prepare a written order, and you'll have it before the close of business tomorrow.
He was claiming that the motion to get that 2-hour-long interrogation video suppressed has been denied. Now, we have not yet confirmed that information, but that is what the defense team is indicating, that video is going to come on in to this trial. They tried to keep it out. And she was claiming that her rights were violated and that she was coerced into the interrogation. She took the stand even in her suppression hearing on Wednesday. Take a look.
Was there any discussion about you being interrogated at the Sheriff's Department?
No.
Was your understanding the sole purpose of you going to the Sheriff's Department the next day was to pick up your phone?
Yes.
And the sole reason for the change in plans from them bringing the phone to you was because Detective Kopsel was pregnant and not feeling well?
Correct. I thought I was supposed to be picking my phone up over at a particular window, and he says, no, your phone is upstairs, so we would just like for you to come upstairs, and that's where you can pick up your phone.
All right. And so did he escort you upstairs?
He did.
I'm going to have you sit in the green chair that doesn't move. Appreciate you coming in.
Yes, ma'am. And I want to ask you about these whenever we have a moment.
Sure. So obviously, he received his autopsy. So I'm going to read you your rights again because we have to talk about that. And since I'm talking about the incident, we just have to do it, just like we did yesterday.
Protocol?
Just like we did yesterday. Remember I read you the rights? Your rights? Yeah. So it's the exact same thing, but since I'm asking you follow-up questions, I need to read them to you, okay?
Sure.
All right. So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning without charge. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one can be provided for you before questioning without charge. Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to talk to me?
No.
And do you understand what I just read you?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So this morning we went to his autopsy, and we were informed of some injuries that he has by the doctor. So so he's got scratch marks to his back.
I know what that's from.
Okay. And it's called a contusion. Do you know what a contusion is? So like basically you're getting hit and then you get a mark from it. You'll get bruising. like someone hit you or something like that, it's called a contusion. So he had some injuries to his left shoulder. He had a cut near his lip. We could see his mouth was a little
I haven't laid a
swollen.
hand on him.
Okay.
Also, too, he fell off my son's bike,
Okay.
so I don't know. And he's notorious for running into the wall or the hall tree. So
Okay.
I don't-
What about the scratches? Because there's also sex.
Yes.
Okay. Because there's also like a scratch on the back of his neck, kind of going, but it's going straight across.
I have no idea what that's from.
And they're all recent. They occurred recently. It wasn't something that occurred post or that occurred a week ago or 2 days ago, 3 days ago. They definitely occurred, the night leading up.
For everything you've done to me. Fuck you.
And
Fuck you.
that's you, your voice.
Stupid. Sarah. That's my name. Don't wear it up. I can't fucking breathe, man. Sarah. Yeah, that's when you do it. You choke me. Sarah. Sarah.
I don't want to watch it, please. Okay.
Last time we talked to you, you had said that you put him in the suitcase, he had 2 fingers hanging out, and you
I
went to
flipped
that.
him over.
Sarah, I can't breathe, man.
I flipped him over, and that's where it was.
And there's 2 different videos and a still picture where, yeah, it shows you flipping him in different positions, and him saying that he can't breathe, and you saying, fuck
So
you.
this is upside down to do it, just so you know. So don't
So
think that it's...
I don't have a problem.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
So, am I getting my phone back?
No.
Not today.
What about Lucas's laptop?
No.
Not today.
Not today.
What does that mean?
We're still going through everything.
Oh, that's fine.
You're the one just telling us there's videos that we need to see on it, so we need
That's
to do our
fine.
due diligence that we go through everything.
See, and that backfires on me now, too, because now you all think that I had even more, in quotes, intent to do what I did to him, which was not intentional.
What's that?
In that, is that correct?
She's asking about your tag in your hand.
No, but I'm asking if that's correct.
No, I'm not going to
We're not
agree to
making
anything that you're
assumptions.
saying. I'm not, that you're...
So, his probation officer,
Mm-hmm.
do you all inform her, or do I need to call her?
We don't have to inform her, so if you would like to call her, you can. Are you saying because he's still on probation?
No, but because of the nice lady that she is and all that she's done for him, I didn't know how it was.
Legally, we just have to tell his parents, and we don't go telling,
Everybody else?
I didn't even know who his probation officer was, so no, I wouldn't go tell
So
him.
the same thing for classes. I need to do that too.
Classes?
The-
You need to do what?
Substance abuse class and his batterer's
cancel him?
intervention.
Yeah, we
Something
don't
else I
have
was
to
just
call
getting ready to
him.
ask. So, other than this, so initially, what was the cause of death?
She is still pending because she wants to hold the body for an additional day to see if more of those bruises turn into something bigger. And she's doing some other tests that she's got to do. So she's pending it for now.
So, and that couldn't have been because of him being in the suitcase? Or
That's
y'all are
her-
saying
she-
that I
that's what-
physically did it?
That's what she's determining.
So,
The ones on the head, I asked her, could that have been from the suitcase, and she said she didn't think so.
I didn't touch him, nor did he touch me.
Okay.
Court pronounces sentence as follows. Ms. Boone, court sentences you to life in the Department of Corrections with credit time served that Madam Clerk will provide to you momentarily. There are also court costs and costs of prosecution, which Madam Clerk will give you the totals of.
What does it matter what we tell his parents? What do you mean?
Because
We're gonna talk with them.
Yeah.
okay,
I have to
but it's
tell-
going to come
like-
down to me.
What do
I'm afraid.
So when he contacts you, 3 days ago, why didn't you call the police? Knowing that he's not supposed to be contacting you. Why are you doing that? I would love that.
His whole family despises me. I'm afraid
That has nothing to do with it.
Yes, it does.
To them last night that their son was dead. There's not a whole lot of conversation that goes on after that. It's not a very easy thing to do.
Was it yesterday or Sunday? Sunday. Today's Tuesday, right?
Did we not meet you yesterday? We met you yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm just asking. Right? Did we not meet yesterday?
It's a valid question.
Really? Yes, on Monday.
Okay.
Got it.
Perfect.
So I don't know if I ask you guys or how I find this out other than talking to his parents, which it's not going to happen.
Yeah, probably a terrible idea.
How do you guys suggest me finding out about funeral?
Yeah.
That's not even something that's been probably talked about between the family. That's not something we ask. We have no way of...
I didn't know, that's why I'm asking.
It's
So,
going to be up to them to make the arrangements of what they want to do. Like she just told you this quick, just being told last night, I'll pretty much be willing to wager that they have not even considered what they're going to do.
His body can't even be released,
No.
so...
I've been there with parents, grandparents, aunt and uncles. So, I don't know if I have the right to or not, but like I was going to call his former employees whom he really cared for and let them know.
You can call whoever you want.
I just don't want to do something that I'm not supposed to. How do I go about getting his wedding ring, engagement ring?
It's at the medical examiner's office. It'll come to us eventually, and then...
It'll be released to the next of kin.
Yeah, okay.
I bought it for him.
That is a civil issue. It was on his finger, it goes to them, they're the ones that are going to release it. We don't have any say in that.
So I won't get that back. So for all of this, like, how do I find out what's what and how many, like, what's been found?
What do you mean?
Pillow with stain, swabs of stain from pillow, suitcase.
That will all be sent off to
FDLE.
FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They do their testing.
So, and then, like, whatever white can with blood and necktie with blood was from the suitcase.
Correct.
Why would you guys, oh, you'll see it in there, the baseball bat, for Lucas, and the receipts. And this is just his phone, my phone, and then the laptop.
Yeah, when anything can be released, we will release it, but we are very early in this investigation, and it's not an overnight process, unfortunately.
So, what's next?
They're going to come and swab your fingers.
No, I'm talking about, like, in the long run.
Court pronounces sentence as follows. Ms. Boone, court sentences you to life in the Department of Corrections with credit time served that Madam Clerk will provide to you momentarily. There are also court costs and costs of prosecution, which Madam Clerk will give you the totals of.
I'm being accused of something that was not intentional. I'm being accused of it.
Mm-hmm.
And a handful of other things that I'm being accused of.
Okay.
So I don't want to be at home with Lucas and you guys show up.
Okay.
I understand that.
So...
We're still investigating. I don't know what you want me to tell you.